I don't know what to do. Don't you understand it? It's too dangerous. I can't.
Roger and I did the skit where I had my teeth and I did him. Remember that? He said, let's just get up there and improvise. I said, okay. It got a little risque. Do you remember it all?
Oh, I remember that. Sure. No, I really did. I did. We got down off the stage.
Yeah.
I don't exactly remember that. Who was on the bed?
No, I remember doing that scene.
Anybody know
who was under that sheet?
Eve.
Eve.
See, they know.
Of course they know.
We all know the answer to everything.
Wow.
I recognized my Benchar dress, so I knew I was probably going to invite somebody.
Well, I don't, I think that I was fishing for the line. Something,
Where's
you know,
that
I know when I have that look on my face when I was trying to get the line, which was most of the time. But how did this end? What happened? Did I become a cop?
No, I just enjoyed you for a while. Which is the story of our relationship. 50 years.
No, I remember the first day of the show, and I do remember you on the first day of the show. And
Your first day.
well, yes, you are. Had everybody been? I think I was a jailer.
Is that right? Well, back in time, yeah, you were taking care of Victoria.
Yeah. And
You were a hero.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember Trask. And,
That's good. You're doing good.
You know, it's kind of, let me give you a little backstory, okay? As to how the hell I got on the show, okay? I went up to see Dan Curtis, who apparently, I'm not sure that he saw the play that I was doing then, but I was doing the show down in the village called McBurg, and I was playing the Bobby Kennedy role.
So he was doing his Bobby Kennedy accent when he auditioned for Dan Curtis?
No.
Did you do it really well? Can you still do it?
Well, the show was, Stacy Keach was McBurg, and Lady McBurg was Lou McClanahan, you remember that? And it was about avenging the death of my brother John. So I never talked any other way than that. I got very into the show, and the show was a really big hit show. It was great. People would stand on the aisles. And Dan heard about the show. I don't think he saw the show. He called me, and I went in, and he said, I'd like you to do the show. He didn't say what or anything. He just said, I'd like you to do the show. And I said, wow, okay, is it in the daytime? It's at daytime. And he said, yes, you can be out by 4:30 and you'll be able to be to the theater, no problem. And so I went in, I swear, 2 days later, green as can be, didn't really understand soap operas at all. But it really didn't seem like a soap opera. It seemed otherworldly, of course. And Vicki, Angie, and Alexander Morgan. And what he said basically was, we're going to put you on camera and see how you do. So I was pretty nervous when I first went on. And that nervousness remained. You notice the nervousness of the cast in general, kind of tension-filled? Did you
That's
notice?
right. We were under such stress after 3 rehearsals and 1 rehearsal on the set that we were all very tense. And it played into the sort of the excitement and the bizarre tone of the show, because we were all trying to remember where we were supposed to stand so we'd be in the light, remember our lines, remember the lines that had been cut so we wouldn't say them, act, which was like 3rd or 4th line.
Everybody had his own way of dealing with remembering the lines. I was always astounded. God bless Jonathan Tribb. He had so many lines, and for so many lines, he really didn't go up that much. But
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He did go up. I mean, it was hard not to go up.
But you know, when he went up, he would get this anguished look on his face. And he would look around at the teleprompter like, you know, where's my Savior from heaven? And I think, oh my God, he is so bad today. Oh, I feel so bad for him. And then we'd watch him the following week, and he'd be tortured with anguish, and he'd be looking around for something to save him. And he was this sympathetic vampire that you just thought, oh, poor Barnabas. If only he could get rid of his horrible curse. And it played right into his role, and it made him so, you worried so much for how anguished he was, and it was almost because of his lines. I remember them. And I was standing there going, we're supposed to say such and such.
Alexander Moltke would do that to me. She'd be off stage and we'd be about to kiss, and she'd be going, telling me my lines.
Because she didn't want you to kiss her. Of course, that's why.
Little does she know.
No, I know.
But the bottom line was, remembering the lines was really it. I found that Jonathan, when he was, let's say he was looking this way at you, and he forgot his lines, and the camera's here, he just had no problem with turning and turning back, you know? So if you're standing there and you're going, I'm going to take you away.
But because he was so hesitant, because he was so morose, you felt sorry for him, right? Am I wrong?
I think you felt a little sorry for all. and we felt a little sorry for all. But the show was great fun, I think. Looking back on it, we have these rehearsals in the morning. You all see what's on camera, but mostly it's about what's going on behind the camera and getting there and getting ready to actually do it. And you have all the scenery and all this stuff, and you're doing it live. They only reshot.
Nothing. 82.
Yeah.
82.
You remember once when I walked in and a shade went down? Right. I mean, they didn't stop, you know. I just looked over and tried to fix the shade. You know, I think that's what I did.
Where's a fly landed on your nose? Or the balloon came into the shot, you know, the mine. Or the prop guy ran across the back. And I was always knocking down tombstones with my dress. Because they were made out of styrofoam. Oh, I wonder how that fell over. Oh, well. Or you slam the door and the set would go like this. Of course, you guys never thought about that because you were into the story. And we were just trying to get through the day. But it was really wonderful fun. It was wonderful fun, and we had a a great time, and we all really liked each other a lot, and we got along. And we knew that we were in something that was strange and amazing, but we had no idea that it was that the following would last this long, because we'd go into the green room to watch the show we'd done the week before, and we'd see how terrible we were. Oh God, oh, I can't even watch it. And then we'd say, oh well, that's it. Nobody will ever see that again. It's gone forever. That's the one saving grace. It's gone forever.
We got some clips, and in fact, it has endured this long, and it shall go on and on, I think. So, what do you think, Dennis?
Look,
What are you, a vampire there?
that's, I think, Charles Delaware tape, right? No? Oh, yes, the mustache.
Yeah, look at those eyes.
Yeah.
Keep me here. You give me no choice. Absolutely no choice. Because I don't want anyone to know that I'm here, and you have to keep my secret.
What secret?
Oh, you're going to find out. Now.
What's the matter with you? Have you gone mad? What? No!
Stay away from me. But you and I are about to change roles. Yes, yours and mine are about to change. I am going to become the master, and you are going to become the servant.
Let me leave here. I didn't mean what I said about the police. You can have whatever time you need to get away from me.
Why is it down here? Where's Tim? The candle. He must have lit it. He must have been here. I'll just have to wait for him to come back. But the coffin...
Close-up on the other person when their eyes are widening in horror. Do you know what the actor's doing? Putting in his teeth. The camera's not on him, so that when the camera comes back, he can go, and the teeth are in there. That's a little bit of secret knowledge I'm passing on to you.
Well, you know, the best part to play in a vampire movie is without question the vampire, right? You know? And I remember coming back to do the movie and being thrilled to come up here to Tarrytown and really be out on a set and with what felt like production. And I really was. I mean, it was thrilling. You remember that scene where I killed Barnabas at the end of the movie?
No, we don't remember that.
I mean, that was staged, the whole thing.
Beautiful. It was a beautiful scene.
It really was I'll never, ever forget, Lara was coming up to me after we did that, and he said, "You pushed me a little hard."
Well, you were famous for that.
Yeah, you know, when they had that scene with Joan Bennett,
Yes,
I
remember?
actually grabbed Joan Bennett, and I went forward, and she fell straight back.
He's a method actor.
I felt so
Let's
bad.
overcome my emotion.
Look, I got into it. It was fun to be the vampire. I've been kind of the love schmo for so long. It was nice to be something else. It was nice not to be confused, and I can't do this.
To be the heavy is much more fun than to be the
Much more fun. You know, you have some leeway. Now listen, there are probably questions that you all will ask that are much more interesting than.
Yes, sir. Go to the question microphone of destiny right there.
Anybody who has a question, just
I think this is for Lara.
Sure.
But earlier this evening, they showed the very last episode of Dark Shadows, and it seemed to me like the story ended with a new plot developing, and Carolyn got bit. I just always curious, were the actors aware that was the last episode, or did you go in that day knowing that would be the last episode you did, or was it on hiatus?
No, we knew it was the end. We couldn't wait to get out of there and go to Hollywood and become movie stars. And Neil Simon came, and all the actors were doing pratfalls of comedy in rehearsal, trying to impress him. Because we all had to go on to new jobs. The truth is, I had no idea that Dark Shadows would be the peak of my professional life. I thought Roger's working, he's talking to his contractor back in New
you know,
York.
it's Friday and it's payday, and I've got 26 guys to pay today, and they all want their money. One of them is sitting out in front of my house, and I'm telling him, please wait. But the next question.
Good thing you're not running for president.
Yes, sir. What's your question? Who's it for?
Yeah, well, this kind of relates to what he was just asking. I just finished watching the whole series on DVD again, which probably
The whole series?
half the people here did. Yes.
Wow.
It took a little dedication. But I was thinking the same thing. As I was nearing the end of the series, I thought, at what point did they know this was over? I know the scripts were written roughly 2 weeks in advance, I've read. So, Lara, you were on all through that final.
That's because I was there when they were making the film, the first film. So I was doing the show while Roger and Catherine and everyone else were making the movie. So we knew it was the end. But you know, it wasn't that bad for all of us because, as I said before, we all thought we were going to go on to bigger and better things. That Dark Shadows was the first run of the ladder. And we were kind of happy over the fact that, you know, that we were getting out of this soap opera. So we, as I said, little did we know that it would have this following that would last for so long.
Thank you, sir. Who's next? What's your question? Who's it for?
My question's for Lara. I was actually wondering, what got you into writing original Dark Shadows fiction with your novels?
Oh, how nice of you. I should tell you that my fourth novel, the hero of the novel is... Vicky comes back to Collinwood and finds everyone gone. And there's a next door neighbor who looks exactly like, who was the guy she was married to in the past? Peter Bradford. In fact, she thinks it is Peter Bradford come back from the past. And he proceeds to wine her and dine her and court her, and he is sophisticated and gorgeous looking and wonderfully charming. So, I know you've all wondered what Vicky's real story was. So so I decided to tell it in the fourth book. So it's pretty interesting. It's in first person, and she tells the story of her childhood in the orphanage and how she came to Congress, and then how she comes back to find the house empty. So I think it's a pretty intriguing book, and she has this wonderful, charming boyfriend. What got me into it was I just was contacted by someone in HarperCollins that said that I think Jim Pearson instigated the meeting, and they said, would you like to try to write a Dark Shadows novel? And I, after swallowing a few times, I said okay. And 2 or 3 years later, I finally finished it. And then I quite enjoy doing them because they have new characters, they have new stories, they have new plots, but they have the Dark Shadows setting and some of the old characters. So it's a segue into, I tried to imagine that it was like the show went on. You know, the show went on and I continued the story. I don't go back and tell, except in the first book for a little bit, I don't go back and tell what happened in the show. It's new territory. And for some people that's not what they want, but for a lot of people seem to have enjoyed them. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
How many people here have read the first book that
Angelique's Descent.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes, wow. I thought it was really wonderful.
Thank you.
And my wife and I both just thought, a writer is born. This is the story of life. And it's
Thank you so much. That's really
This is for Lara. I had a question when they did the House of Dark Shadows. Did they have a role for you at all? And I realized that Anjanette wouldn't be in there, but...
You mean I was hardly in the movie?
Yes.
No, I had a role. You mean the first movie?
The first movie.
Right.
No, I didn't have a role.
Right, but had they planned it all for one for you?
No,
Or
no.
had they already decided on doing this next movie for the Night of Dark Shadows, which you were in?
You know, they didn't sit me down and tell me their decisions. You had no idea. It's like this, you know. We have no idea what's happening for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Because Jim Pearson never tells us what's going to happen.
Okay, thank you, sir. What's the next question?
Hey, so great seeing you guys. This is kind of going back to the kind of like the technical aspect. You guys were talking about the teleprompter and you know how nervous you are when you're talking with the lines. And you know, going back to that scene where you were showing Maggie, you know, going down to that room and she's opening up the coffin and he's not there, and she's thinking to herself. Now, how is that done as far as like ADR work? Like, while this show is being produced, after you know you guys shoot the scene, do you guys later like go record Maggie's voice saying what she's got to say, and how do you guys work that out as far as like cueing each other and when you guys?
We recorded it before we shot this.
Oh, really?
But when we shot the show, we didn't stop. They didn't
Okay.
even stop for the commercials. They fed the commercials onto the tape, and we sat around and waited until the commercial was over, and then the cameras turned back on, and we continued with the scenes.
Okay.
And we never edited anything.
Okay. I just wanted to know that. That's what I had to do. Thank you very
No,
much.
there were no production values whatsoever. Except for chroma key. Chroma key, you could appear and disappear, which is really fun. And you love doing it. But the cameraman never really got you to the right size. Because it was a superimpose. You realize you were superimposed into the room, you were standing in front of the blue screen, and you were really big, but kind of too little.
And the lighter fluid too, right?
Oh, the lighter.
Remember the lighter with the House of Cards that blew up?
House of Cards, yeah, blew up, yeah.
Thank
All
you.
over my eyelashes.
Thank you, sir. All right. Yes, sir.
Hi, this is a question for the both of you. That means both of you, Roger. And
I'll talk to him before you run.
okay. And I've enjoyed seeing a lot of your, both of your on the classic channels, TV channels. They've been running a lot of your post-Dark Shadows work lately. Laura on Incredible Hulk and Squad, and Roger, you'll be happy to know your Wonder Woman was on last weekend. So.
Oh, you're gonna make some money.
And Matlock, and you were really bad on Quincy too. So I was wondering if you I mean, the character was evil. The character was evil. And I was just wondering if you could comment on some of your TV work from that period.
Comment on our TV work?
Yeah, just some of the guests are like when you were on the Hulk.
Other than Dark Shadows?
Yes, please.
You know, one of the conventions we were here, Joe Bennett was here, and someone asked everyone what their favorite role was that they'd ever done in their whole acting career. They're from the time they were really young until now. And everybody talked about it, and they got to Joan Bennett, and she said, what? And they said, they want to know the best role you ever played in your whole career. And she said, oh, Dark Shadows, of course.
Did you see her in any of her great movies?
Oh, she was so beautiful. She also has a huge role in Wolf Moon Rising and in my latest book. For some reason, I really wanted to tell Elizabeth Stotter's story. So she's in the book with Vicky's story. So it's pretty interesting. Made it a lot better.
All right. Next question.
I have to say, I don't even like talking about what happened 5 days ago. Thank you so much for talking about what happened 50 years ago. It's incredible, and you have such enthusiasm still. Thank you.
I know that there is a fan club here from Orlando. Are you all here? No? Not here? Oh, hi! Hi! There's a Dark Shadows fan club, very active in Orlando. And so they're here.
Raise your hand if you think you're from the farthest place away from Tarrytown. Okay, where are you from? Houston?
Oh, Houston, Texas.
Hollywood, California.
Australia.
Australia? Who's Australia?
Did you come here to see the Dark Shadow for the festival from Australia?
I did. So I planned my holiday. So I go holidaying around America and then go to the Dark Shadow.
He said holiday instead of vacation.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes!
Yeah, the UK. You guys just retreated from everything today.
Yeah, you might want to stay here a little longer, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, just saying, but yeah. But congratulations on when will the nuptials take place? Not till after the ceremony. Oh. Congratulations.
If you all, you'll be seeing this. The wonderful thing about the festival is that we're all very accessible. We'll be able to talk to us. We'll be signing autographs. Don't hesitate to stop and talk to us. We're here to meet and greet you and to spend some time with you. And what time do you have left? I almost never go anywhere where there's anybody older than I am. So it's kind of hard now to think of that, but the truth of the matter is time waits for no man. So you just keep rolling. I was with a friend of mine today, I had breakfast here in the city, and he's 94, and I said, what have you been doing? He said, well, I went down the other day and saw my daughter, and he had just flown in from LA, and I'd seen him on the plane. That's exactly where it took place. And so he said he'd gone down to see his sister, and he'd walk downtown, and I thought, well, he lives in the Hollywood Hills, maybe he went to Beverly Hills. And he said, no, I walked down to 6th and Hill Street. Now, in Los Angeles, you don't have to know, that's like 25 miles. Now,
He walked 25 miles? This person was so old?
94 years old. He said he did it all the time.
That's why he can do it.
Yeah. And so, listen, it's a thrill to be here on many levels. Okay? You have to understand that for us, for this to last as long as it has. You ask about doing other television shows. Of course, it was great to, ride a white horse and always with the girl, and it was Alias Smith and Jones was great. It was a great show. It was a lot of fun way to get in and do the show, but the show itself was terrific. When you're up in Monument Valley where John Ford shot all those movies, and you've got a posse chasing you with 30 people. And,
30?
I know, I guess it could be 100, I could have said 130. It shouldn't matter if it's 30. But,
All those actors on horseback, yeah.
It seemed like a lot. And
It was fun, sure.
there's all kinds of memories that you have that you never see. Just a week ago at dinner, I ran into Keith Carradine, and we've known each other for all the way back to McCabe and Mrs. Miller. Did anybody see McCabe and Mrs. Miller? And we had a really nice time talking, and I said, Keith, it's just, wow, your career is what you... And he said, Roger, I'm so happy, even if it's a glorified bit part, I'm so happy to have a hit show. And if you watched the Madam Secretary, he plays the president. And he doesn't get to do all the great things that Keith's capable of. But to have a show when you get older is really appreciated. And yesterday I went to see my agent, and I got there. I didn't get off the plane until really late. I knew I was going to be late getting into the office, and it was about 5:30. And I was getting in the elevator, and someone said, Roger. And it turned out to be my agent, the head of Abrams Artists, and he was behind me. And he said, Raj, I was just thinking about you. And it felt so good to have somebody, after all these years, say something like that. And I said, in 30 years, we've never, ever found a voice like yours. And we would welcome if you would come back.
Henry Fonda.
Well, Henry Fonda. You see, you can't talk about old actors anymore because nobody remembers old actors.
What do they do?
No, I say to anybody my daughter's age, you remember Paul Newman, they go, sure they remember Clint Eastwood because he's still working, but it is hard because in the bar in my house I had lots of old actors, Tyrone Power and Clark Gable.
Are they really there? Or?
No. Let me start this again. She missed the key. I had pictures of Clark Gable, and they're all out of the old. They're all out of the old Warner Brothers. The absolute original commissary of Warner Brothers, and they're framed in stainless steel. And I have so many people who don't know who they are. Who is it? Who are these people?
Well, most of us have stopped acting. Some of us get the odd role once in a while. And you'd be so happy to know that Catherine and I are in 2 Dark Shadows movies that you'll get to see on Sunday. Well, Catherine and I did a skit, which I wrote, in Martinique, where we met unexpectedly at the ruins of the theater in Martinique when we went on the cruise last year. And we did this darling skit where I'm carrying Barnabas's ashes around. Sounds like fun, right? And then we did another film. These are films. We're acting on film of Chris Pennick and Johnny Carlin. And she and I are in a film where Johnny is he's auditioning for a job taking care of a vampire, and Chris Pennick is the vampire, and he's saying, "What makes you think you'd be good at this job?" I love it. So we never.
This is a movie?
Yes, they're movies. They're very short. But I know you'll look forward to seeing them, and we had a great time because they're, the second one is filmed by Ansel, who is our...
Ansel's right here in the front row. Stand up,
He's
stand
our
up.
new Ansel Farage. He's our new director of choice, and he's given all of us wonderful roles in his films, including Jerry Lacey, and we've had a lot of fun. So he edited together the Martinique footage, and he shot the audition, the job audition for Caring for a Vampire, which you'll just love Johnny, seeing Johnny acting again. So it's all for you. Did it all for you.
Let's have a huge hand for Lara Parker, Roger Davis. One more question.